My name is Khrystyna Shkudor, and I'm advocacy manager of the project Where Are Our People by PR Army. So this is NGO. And we basically work on the challenge of forceful deportation by Russian Federation of Ukrainians, both children and adults.
Right. And this last 2 years has been difficult enough, but before we get to the last 2 years, what was our situation before February 24th already?
Okay, so before that was better because we were talking only about Crimea in a small part of Donbass, of Lugansk and Donetsk region. So the territory itself was less. So that was the point. And before that, you know, it was different because Russia was, they said that they took Crimea, but they said there is no one from Russian Federation on Donbass. There's some, you know, partisans, how they would call it, like some local troops that fight against Ukrainian government, but there is no Russian militaries. So nobody. About Crimea, they didn't tell it. So I would say that the hugest difference it was in 2014. They were scared a bit. They were, you know, maybe not scared, but they were, you know, very light. They were trying. They, you know, they were trying what they can.
They were also hit with a massive propaganda campaign aimed at the message of instability in Kiev.
Exactly, but it started not even in 2014. It was started much like earlier. So they started, I think, 2010.
What does it mean? Okay.
So it was before that. Okay, so I've been talking to one of Ukrainian politicians. I think you know him, like Chernovil, you know him? So he told me that even it was Kuchma the president, so it was like beginning of 2000s, and our intelligence put the report on the table of our president that time, and it said that Russia is planning the huge war against Ukraine. But nobody at that time could even believe that that could be true. So I would say they planned all that much earlier. They just came to the point when they want to do something like with Belarus. They want to do something like this, some scenario like in Ukraine, but Ukraine is totally different. We are just totally different. And when they understood they won't do this their way with just propaganda, brainwash, and all this kind of stuff, they just decided to do this by war.
So since February 24th, we have a dramatically different situation because of the violent invasion of the remaining territories that were not already under siege. And I know that for the last 2 years, we've talked about the kidnapped children and citizens. Where are we at now, and what do you think the most important thing that the world audience should understand about the stealing of Ukrainian people?
Okay, so that's the most horrible numbers from the 21st century in Europe, because according to United Nations, 2.8 million of Ukrainian people were forcefully deported to Russian Federation. Among them, so Khrystyna, that's the child, the representative of the child rights by President office. She told me they approximately think it's like 250,000 them are children. We know only 19,800 names. So they identify. So we don't know all their other names. And we could only return 386 of them back to Ukraine.
Wow.
So this is awful numbers. And you know what? I've been talking a lot to European politicians, to American politicians. And the thing is, nobody knows what to do because this is such a huge numbers, and like people are like politicians, they're confused because there is no no formula, nothing. So nothing already created to solve this challenge, you know? Because Russia will not give these children back. Right. Because it's not only orphans, we need to understand. It's not only orphans. Right. This is like, part of them is huge.
For the viewers, that's a very vulnerable group because there's no one to advocate for them. They literally just are.
Exactly. Disappeared. Right. But we have like children without their parents were killed in this war, for example, from Mariupol. Right. So they like became orphans, but they were not orphans. Can you imagine the horror of this life? So these Russians kill your family, and now you're kidnapped, put in the Russian Federation, and they force you to go to Russian family. But there is even worse cases, which is like heartbreaking, I think. I'm positive. Like with the occupied territories, what they do. For example, they come to the family, and for example, this family have 3 kids, and they say, okay, one of your child needs to go to the summer camp for the vacations. Summer camp. For the vacation.
Doesn't know about Soviet summer camps.
Exactly.
We've done segments, but we're going to do more of that.
So they took the child, and they steal it.
Some of these locations are the same locations that have been there before, yes?
Exactly.
Wow.
And right now, you know, they took this child, and they just kidnap it. They never return this child back. Can you imagine the heart? And now families, they know in the occupied area, they know the stories. But then they say, if you won't give us a child, we will take 3 of them, of you.
Wow. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And after that, it's like, you know, it's a horror that these people are living in, because this is just a normal family. It's just the way to control them, because then after that they offer to those families, you can all move to Russian Federation.
Right.
So all of you, and they force people to do what they want with this, because this is like, you know, like there is nothing human in this. Nothing human in this. And some of these people, they call like, but they are afraid, because you need to understand, they cannot come to the police, tell them that they kidnapped the child. They need to, and they have 2 other children at home. What they need, what they can do, they need just to move to Ukraine controlled territory and try to return the child back. But this is really, really hard. It's like takes a lot of time and a lot of money. You can imagine so how much money they need to go all around this and take the child. These people usually don't have this amount of money. Another part, what they do to Ukrainian kids, which is a horror, I think, at all. They created so-called military camps. Юнармія, Вагнерёнок, Movement of First, and they didn't even cover that, because one of those so-called military camps is like not controlled. It was created by Minister of by Shoigu.
Yeah.
So they don't even want to cover this. So they took Ukrainian children, they kidnapped from us, and they put them to these military camps. And so this is different age groups, but starting from 13 and on to 17, they have like the fight lessons. So they teach them how to become soldiers. Yeah. And it's like they have a huge number of them. If you go to where our people website, we have a map, interactive map. We put them. We are trying to find those camps and put them on the map, but they change the locations all the time.
Let me ask you a final question, and we'll talk plenty of times.
Okay.
So for all the viewers, this is an ongoing thing. A lot of work to do. 2024.
Yep.
What can the OSINT community and the activist community outside of Ukraine do to help you?
Advocate for support aid for Ukraine, both European and American, because I will tell not like, you know, famous, like not popular thing, but Russia is not following any law. We can write on the paper whatever we want. This is the thing that I'm challenging with Europeans and Americans.
Agreed.
They're trying to find something human in them, but there is nothing.
Understood.
Believe
me. The
me.
redeeming quality.
Yeah.
Right. And
the only thing, how we can help all these people. I'm not telling about like individuals. I'm telling about all of them. Russia needs to lose in a battlefield. Yeah. When they lose and Ukraine victory will come, then we will have the access to all these children adults, prisoners, and all these people. We can help them, all of them, because till that moment, whatever we create, whatever, we can go to any court, have any decision on any court, any American court, any international court, any European court. United Nations can get hundreds of resolutions. Russia will never follow them. They will select what they want to follow, what they don't want to follow. So there is no unique formula, and this is not very, not very famous thing to tell, because some people are looking for funding for return kids, and a lot of Americans and Europeans, they give some money and say, oh, we helped, but this is not helping to all of them. You will help just certain number, and it won't be big.
And there is actually now one more question, because
exactly.
we just had the POW release last week.
Okay.
And Budanov said something I've been suspicious of, because I've been working this POW release story for a while now. I said, if you have this Nazi obsession with Bandera and Azov, why release Azov fighters? It doesn't make sense. And that was actually what I asked on the last thing. I said, well, Turkey, okay, and I couldn't understand their logic. But Adam says, because it's setting us up. And that's the thing I thought about with this release. I said, you just bombed us in two major salvos, the 29th and the 2nd. Oh, but now we're going to have a prisoner swap, which is totally great news for all who come home. But the reason why I'm bringing it up is the fractions of the numbers. It's here's a crumb. And so we have to remember, Russia never does something that it doesn't play back.
No.
So let's end on the comment about that.
Russia will only do what they want, and if you are looking for the logic in what they do, no, you will never find it. They are just, from my understanding, because I was trying to understand, they are living in a different world, different, and it has nothing in common with the world we are living, or your audience is living
so
in.
Our assumptions are also used against us.
Yes, and they are using your weapon against you.
The free press.
Exactly.
Amen. Дуже дякую.
You're very much welcome. Pleasure.